May 20th readings. Justin Martyr, Dialogue with Trypho, chapters 130 to 131, a new set of prophecies from Moses. After everyone gave their agreement, I continued, "Let me now bring forward a few other passages I haven't yet mentioned. These are recorded in figurative form by Moses, God's faithful servant. He writes, 'Rejoice, O heavens, with him, and let all the angels of God worship him.' Then comes the rest of the passage. 'Rejoice, O nations, with his people. Let all the angels of God find strength in him. For the blood of his sons he will avenge. Yes, he will repay his enemies and bring judgment on those who hate him. And the Lord will purify the land of his people.' The Gentiles share in the inheritance. These words show that we, Gentiles, are now rejoicing with God's people, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the prophets, and all others from that people who were pleasing to God. As we've already agreed, this doesn't apply to everyone from your nation. For Isaiah prophesied that those who transgress will be devoured by an undying worm and unquenchable fire, remaining alive as a visible warning to all humanity. Israel was chosen, but not all obeyed. But I would also like to add a few more sayings from Moses. These will help you see that God long ago scattered all peoples according to their clans and languages, but chose your nation from among them, a people who proved to be disobedient, ungrateful, and unfaithful. Even so, he revealed that those chosen from every nation would obey him through Christ, whom he also calls Jacob and names Israel. As I've explained earlier, these must be the true Jacob and Israel. A reproach with a purpose. For when he says, "Rejoice, O nations," with his people, he grants the same inheritance to the Gentiles, yet he doesn't call them by the same name. Instead, he highlights the distinction by calling us Gentiles, emphasizing that we are not the same people, but are now welcomed into the same blessing. You provoked him through your idolatry, and so he turned to those who had also been idolaters and made them worthy of knowing his will and inheriting his kingdom. God's division of the nations. Let me now quote the passage that shows God divided the nations. Ask your father, and he will tell you, your elders, and they will explain. When the Most High divided the nations, as he scattered the sons of Adam, he fixed their boundaries according to the number of the children of Israel. The Lord's portion became his people Jacob, and Israel was the lot of his inheritance. Angels or Israel? The text makes no difference. Now the Septuagint renders that part as, according to the number of the angels of God. But since my argument remains intact either way, I'll accept your version for now. Still, if you're willing to be honest, you must admit that we who have been called by God through the disgraceful mystery of the cross, who have suffered punishments, even death, for proclaiming Christ, are more faithful to God than you, despite your history. Your miraculous history meant to lead to faith. Your ancestors were rescued from Egypt with great power and wonder. God parted the sea for you to cross on dry land and then destroyed your enemies by returning the waters upon them. You were led by a pillar of light and given a unique and unending brightness, different from any other people. You were fed with manna, described as food for angels, so that you wouldn't even need to prepare your own meals. Bitter water at Marah was made sweet. The symbols that pointed to Christ. You were even given symbols pointing ahead to the crucified Christ, the bronze serpent, as I mentioned before, and Moses raising his hands during battle. Joshua, named Jesus, led you into battle against Amalek, and God commanded that this be remembered, and his name engraved in your minds. He said Jesus would erase Amalek's memory from the earth, and clearly Amalek's name wasn't blotted out by Joshua son of Nun, but it has been by Jesus who was crucified. The Messiah's victory over demons and death. All these things, the signs, the types, the foreshadowings, make clear that the demons would be defeated by him. They tremble at his name. Earthly powers will fear him. People from every nation who believe in him will be revealed as those who fear God and live in peace. Everything I've said already, Trypho, points in that direction. Provision in the wilderness, a picture of grace. And again, when you demanded meat, an overwhelming number of quail was provided. Water flowed from the rock. A cloud followed you to protect you from heat and cold, a sign of a new and heavenly covering. Your shoes never wore out. Even the clothes of your children grew with them. Yet despite all these miracles and blessings, you remain ungrateful. Augustine of Hippo, The Confessions, Book 10, Chen, sections 3-4. The limits of human testimony. So what does it really matter if other people hear my confessions? Are they going to heal my wounds? People love to hear about the lives of others, but they're slow to examine their own. Why do they want to hear from me what kind of person I am, when they avoid hearing from you what kind of person they are? Even when I speak truthfully about myself, how can anyone else be sure I'm not just putting on a show? No one truly knows a person except the spirit that is within him. 1 Corinthians 2:11. But when people hear something from you about themselves, when you speak into their hearts, they cannot say God is lying. For to hear from you is to be shown who they really are, and who after truly seeing himself dares to say, that's not true, unless he is lying to himself. Still, because love believes all things, 1 Corinthians 13:7, at least among those who are made one through love, I confess to you, O Lord, so that others may hear. Even if I cannot prove to them that I'm telling the truth, love opens their ears and they trust me. Why confessions matter. But even so, my hidden physician, show me what good comes from doing this. When people read or listen to the confessions of sins you have already forgiven and covered over, their hearts may be stirred, not to despair and say, I'm too far gone, but to awaken in love for your mercy and the sweetness of your grace. For by that grace, the weak become strong when they recognize their weakness and lean on you. The righteous rejoice to hear of former sins that have been overcome, not because they delight in the sins, but because those sins no longer hold power. They find joy not in what was wrong, but in the fact that those errors no longer define the one who confesses. So what's the fruit of my present confessions, Lord, when I speak not of who I was, but who I am right now? That's what some people want to know, both those who know me and those who only know about me. They want to hear from me what's inside me, but they cannot reach my heart. Only you know that part of me. They want to hear my inner confession. They are willing to believe, but can they understand? Love, which makes them good, tells them I am not lying, and love in them believes what I say. Thomas Aquinas, Summa Theologica, Part 1, Question 70, Article 3. Whether the lights of heaven are living beings. Objection. It seems that the lights of heaven, the sun, moon, and stars, are living beings because Scripture sometimes describes them as acting with purpose or receiving commands from God. No, the heavenly lights are not living beings. They are not alive in themselves, nor do they possess intellect or will. They are part of the natural order and move according to the physical laws and the design placed in them by God. While ancient philosophers like Plato and some early thinkers believed that celestial bodies had souls or were animated, perhaps because of their perfect circular motion, this position is not supported by faith or reason. Just because something moves does not mean it's alive in the way a plant or an animal is. For example, a clock moves, but it's not alive. The movements of the heavenly bodies are determined, orderly, and unchanging, but this regularity comes from the way God designed the universe, not from the lights themselves having life. When Scripture speaks of the sun or moon being ashamed or rejoicing, it uses metaphorical language, not literal descriptions of living personalities. Thus, the lights of heaven are not living beings, but created instruments through which God orders and governs the world. Quick summa. The heavenly bodies are not living beings. They move by God's design, not by their own life or will.